Hi, I've been meaning to update since the last DPT Copenhagen and realised what I should do, because actually the next DPT Berlin started today. It partly shows that I've been busy with tons of stuff, but also that the EPTs really do come thick and fast nowadays. Copenhagen was a bit of a gutting experience, but fun while it lasted for about a day and a half. At the end of level 4, day 1, I actually was told that I had the chip lead in the room, which obviously doesn't mean too much at the time, but I kind of raced away to 95k or something. In the last 4 hours of the day, things went downhill a little bit as I ended with 72, and it felt like that was mainly because having started off on a gorgeous table, I got moved to actually what was a really nice table, apart from the fact that my position on it really sucked, because on my direct left was, I don't know the guy's name, but the guy that had won the Deep Stack event in Helsinki that I came third in January, who knew my game pretty well and was able to pretty much just own me in position a lot, and not let me take advantage of all the spots that I would have liked to, kind of like 3, 4 to the left of him, and own me in position in a way that I felt I couldn't do too much about it. Definitely when I look back, my one big regret of the last couple of hours of play was that I didn't 4-bet him all in earlier than I did, but he was always able to just put me in awkward spots where I was playing like 50 big blinds, I'd open to like 2.5 or whatever, he'd 3-bet to 8, and it was always like such an ugly stack size to go with a hand like ace jack or 7s or whatever all in, where the range that calls me all in is absolutely crushing me. An interesting spot came up on like the penultimate hand of the day when I did poke a hand that I was definitely 4-betting him all in with. I picked up ace king offsuit, penultimate hand of the day, playing 62k, and raised to 36, so it must have been 612, I guess. I raised to 3600 playing 62k, and he made it 11,000. And the big question is now, with ace king, obviously I'm re-shipping on him in some way, but I think I've got 3 options. I could re-ship all in. I think that's the most likely line to get a call from a slightly wider range. I could click it back at him or a little bit more. That's the line that might have me playing a flop out of position against kind of 2 fairly unknown cards, but also might induce him to 5-bet bluff all in, which is some decent possibility, even if he has a hand like 6-5 of hearts or whatever. Or I can do what I ended up doing, which is something in between, which is make it like some ugly amount, like when he makes it 10.5, make it like 29 out of my 62, which actually effectively is an all-in, and maybe to a really good player like him just basically says all-in, because he obviously has no fold equity. But this is what I tend to do, is actually a stronger way of moving all-in, simply because I believe that in the psychology of things, then if you present people with an all-in and they know their 2 decisions are simply to pass or call, almost every poker player will just sway slightly towards hitting that call button. But if you make this weird move of like 4-betting for half your stack, obviously it should be the same, but that doesn't seem to be obvious to too many people, and I feel it just results in a few more folds because they have to push the rest of the stack in rather than just saying the easiest word in poker, call. So when I've got ace king and I've 3-bet, obviously he's put like 16k dead in the middle, so the big question is, against his range of hands, then do I actually want to call for my whole 62k stack, or do I want to try and take the 16k worth of free equity that he's given me by if I can take the pot down with a 4-bet? That's a really interesting question, and definitely my decision to make this kind of weird play in order to try and take down the pots. Basically there's only a few crucial hands. It's what does he do with pocket 8s, what does he do with pocket 7s. My move was designed at him kind of passing that range, which probably includes ace queen as well. Might have been slightly wimpy, because I think once you get to that point and presented with taking like 75k into day 2, that feels nicer than racing for like a 125k stack or whatever it is. In this kind of spot where you're 4-betting all in, then although it seems he has such a wide, massive range of hands, actually there's only a few that matter, because obviously if he's got 10s plus or ace king, he's getting it in anyway. If he's got complete air, he's probably not getting it in anywhere at all. So really you only need to think, what do I want to happen against like 7s, 8s, 9s and ace queen, that range? Obviously in that range, ace queen appears more than 7, 8 and 9, so I do want to call from that or not. If I wanted to work out completely, I guess that you just have to stick some numbers into it, but it feels like actually, even though I haven't crushed and I have ace king and there are a lot of weaker aces in his range, my instinct was that actually I want to make a 4-bet that is more likely not to get called and take my 16k free equity rather than race and hope, rather than get it all in and hope to be in a dominating position over ace queen rather than racing against pocket 8s. But I don't know, maybe some person who knows the numbers of tournaments much better than me can put me right on that. It's maybe a bit nitty to make this move, which is hoping that he's going to pass that range of hands. Anyway, I took like 75 into day 2 and had what seemed to be a typical day 2. Actually, a bizarrely fishy table, and Copenhagen was strange this year. Whilst it's normally the toughest, it seemed nowhere near as good. I made one bad decision in the only hand I had all day, where I raised like 3 deuce on the button, gave up on a flop of ace king 3, hit the gin 3 on the turn, and now a Russian guy that seemed fairly fishy bet into me, and I just put him on an ace like 7 or whatever, on ace king 3 3, which I thought wasn't going to give it up. So he made it 3k, and I actually made it like 17 on the turn, the feeling that he surely would call that with an ace, and then I can fire like half pot on the river and he's going to cycle that. And he thought for ages and passed. So when you have one good hand all day and they like tank pass for ages, it definitely leaves you thinking, if I make it like 15 rather than 17, could it change the whole day? And possibly so. After that, things went horribly wrong. Same Russian guy shipped in for 27k. I snapped with ace queen offsuit. He's got ace 3 offsuit. The door card's a queen, and still I find a way to lose against the runner and a flush. I've now got 35. Take it to a new table with a net on it. Dipped down a bit to like 32k. I found ace 9 when the blinds must have been 1200, 2400. So I shipped my last like M of 11 or whatever, and got sniped by Greg who had kings. So it's kind of a standard exit. It leaves you gut at the time, definitely, but there wasn't too much to think about apart from that interesting situation on the first day. And maybe actually what I should have done is seen it coming and just 4-bet this guy the first time, because I had to present him too many easy spots where a 3-bet was just good, partly because of my stat size and partly because it was so obvious that players were nitty to the left of us. Anyway, it kind of leaves the EPT as being the one tour that I've seen NATO really, really suck at, which partly is a bit going because it's the EPT, but there's also kind of like, nah, whatever, just keep on going and see what I can do, basically, just trying to think and improve each time. This week's event's in Berlin, and mainly through circumstances, I actually can't play the main event, but I'm going to go and play their 10k side event at the weekend, which is going to definitely be a small field, hopefully not like comically small. I think there was like 20 runners in Deauville, although that was an even higher buy-in. So that should be good, and I'll be updating from that High Rollers event at the weekend. Apart from that, the one thing I'm mega busy with is trying to get these mixed games together for the series. And 1st of January this year, I definitely felt like I had tons of time. I didn't know the games at all, and it felt like, come on, since then. And then when the 1st of March hit, I thought like, actually it's not that long. It's like less than 3 months now till Vegas. So it kind of feels now like it's a race against time. That these games, which I think I've become like okay at the moment, can I try and push it and try and get really good at these games in the next 3 months? So that's something I'll be updating. For that whole reason, actually, I really plan not to play too much live poker. So I think between now and the end of May, when I fly to Vegas, I'll probably play Berlin, Monte Carlo, probably San Remo, the GUK BTs, which I obviously have to play, but I think I'd play them anyway because I love the GUK